Thank Mr. Lipinski for offering this amendment to raise the cap on funding that multimodal projects can receive in the newly created Freight Grant Program, and I am proud to join him as a co-sponsor along with my colleagues Mr. Seres and Ms. Brown. Several other members have raised concerns about this cap as well, which indicates the need and concerns about the lack of funding for these types of projects across the country. It is noteworthy that although this bill provides flat funding of just $325 billion over 6 years, we still found a way to create in it a robust freight title, and I thank the chairman and the ranking member for that. The one major improvement in the bill is the creation of the Nationally Significant Freight and Highway Projects Program, which will provide guaranteed dedicated funding for large-scale multimodal projects that are critical for our regional and national economy. This was a key recommendation of the Freight Panel that Mr. Duncan chaired and on which I was the ranking member, and it is absolutely essential that we finally address major projects that are too big or complex for states to address on their own. The Projects of National and Regional Significance, or PNRS program, that we created in Safety Lou was meant to address such projects, but it was divvied up into earmarks. In MAP 21, the PNRS program was reauthorized, but subject to appropriations and never received any funding. The program created in this bill refines and builds upon those efforts and corrects decades of neglect by finally providing guaranteed funding for nationally important freight projects. Chairman Schuster and Ranking Member DeFazio should be applauded for this achievement. I have grave concerns, however, about the subject matter of this amendment, namely the aggregate cap of $500 million on non-highway projects. The cap equals about 11% of the program, yet we are bailing out the Highway Trust Fund with potentially 30% in general revenue. It can no longer be argued that highway users are supporting non-highway projects. In fact, the reverse is true. We should let all projects, highways, non-highways, compete and award funding based on need and on what they would do, not game the selection process with arbitrary caps and set-asides. I would prefer no cap. But if we're going to insist on one, it should certainly be higher than it is, and I support all efforts to improve this aspect of the bill. This amendment would change the cap from $500 million, which, as I said, is about 11%, to 25%, still lower than the 30% non-highway funding in this title. We have also heard from numerous groups opposed to this cap, including the Coalition for America's Gateways and Trade Corridors, which includes a wide range of transportation stakeholders from local governments, ports, economic development agencies, and state DOTs, and various engineering and construction firms. There is widespread agreement that the arguments used to limit funding and justify this cap no longer hold true. The entire transportation bill is supported by general revenue. It has been for several years, and it appears it will be for many years to come, even if we were to raise the gas tax, which of course is not the case in this bill. We should enact a transportation bill that reflects the facts and the demonstrated needs around the country. Overall, the freight program in this bill is a major achievement. Thank you, Chairman Schuster and Ranking Member DeFazio, for your commitment to this issue. I look forward to continue working with you to refine and defend the program so that it addresses critical multimodal freight projects as intended, and the adoption of this amendment would improve it so that we could fund the multimodal projects based on need and on their contribution to reducing highway congestion and so forth, based on efficiency and need, with less of an arbitrary cap. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Anyone else? Does anyone else wish to be heard on these amendments?